In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful, I am Shabnam Modaberi. I am the author of the book The Splendor of the Encounter and an experiencer who had a mirage-like journey. I try to include these experiences in my book, but so that other dear ones can also benefit from this experience, I try to share them with you, dear ones. In the year 1989 in Kaniabad-e-No, Tehran, where I was a teacher, my workplace was the Department of Education, District 19. I was working, and it was Yalda Night. I remember exactly, it was Thursday night, Yalda Night, in the year 1368, 1989. School had just let out. I was heading home and had to take the shuttle, but our shuttle was late that night. My colleagues and I were there, waiting to get on our shuttle to go home. Suddenly, a car was speeding toward me. Right where my colleague and I were standing, I glanced at the car for a moment. It was as if something inside me told me to look closely at that car, so I did, and then I turned my face back toward my colleague as we were talking. Suddenly, I felt like I was in the middle of the street, being pulled along. I was being dragged on the ground, and in that moment, I had no idea what was happening. Unfortunately, that speeding car hit me really hard and violently threw me to the other side of the street. My shoe even came completely off, and what I distinctly remember is that I fell forcefully onto the cold, hard street, the unforgiving ground. Then my colleagues came and gathered around me, and when they looked, they all recognized me. Our manager, one of my colleagues who is a manager, came over, recognized me, and started calling my name. Then he said, "This is my colleague. He's from my department. I know him." And at that moment, I felt an overwhelming fatigue and a strange coldness, and then I noticed some unusual feelings inside me. Some strange things were happening inside me. It was happening, and I couldn't figure out what it was or why it was happening this way. At first I felt tired, then I started to feel sleepy. In this drowsy state, there was always something inside me. It kept telling me, look inside yourself, a voice coming from within me. It wasn't coming from outside, it was from within, telling me to look inside myself. I don't know why this voice was coming. And at the same time, my colleagues were talking to each other. When I was in the arms of one of my colleagues, because I felt how heavy my head was, one of my colleagues was holding me, insisting and shaking me. He was telling me not to sleep, and I replied, "But I'm really sleepy." He kept saying, "No, don't sleep," and was calling my name, but someone inside me was telling me to sleep. I was caught between not sleeping and the sleep that this inner voice was telling me to have. I wanted not to sleep, but I was feeling so sleepy, and anyway, for a few minutes, I don't know. Now, whether it lasted a few seconds or longer, I was witnessing these events. My body was gradually becoming paralyzed, so to speak, and I just couldn't anymore. I couldn't control my body to keep myself from falling asleep. Suddenly, even though my eyes were open, my eyes became half closed, and then I looked inside myself. Someone from within me immediately responded and said, "Bear witness, you are dying right now." And at that moment, all I did was turn back. I said, "Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah." Then I turned back and again said, "Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah." My colleagues heard this and started shouting, "Oh no, he's dying. Don't let him fall asleep. Oh no, he's dying. He's dying." He was reciting the Shahada, and after that, those poor guys were really scared. I'm sure they were completely at a loss, and a few of them were shaking me, saying, "For God's sake, don't sleep, don't sleep." But at the same time, my eyes were starting to close. I could see inside myself more clearly. Suddenly, I saw something white, like a glowing circle, inside my body, in my stomach. I felt as if a small box, like a little case, was opening up behind my stomach. I could actually see this box as if it were a tiny object. I saw it inside my stomach, behind my navel, in that area. But from there, I saw a round, glowing thing that started spinning, started to rotate, and then it began to speak, and then I was watching. I saw that the more its radius increased, the faster it spun, and it kept going, surrounding my stomach, moving upward and upward. A voice from within was telling me to close my eyes, but my colleagues wouldn't let me. "Close your eyes." I wanted to sleep. I was really sleepy. I couldn't keep my eyes open, but they wouldn't let me sleep. And this thing I'm talking about, when I looked inside myself, I saw that its radius just kept increasing. It became brighter and brighter, rose up, and then started to surround my heart, and this very aura I'm talking about was spinning as it came up, upwards. It surrounded my throat, and just as my eyes were about to close, suddenly that voice spoke to me, and then I woke up. I said, Ashadu anna Amir al Mu'minin, peace be upon him, is the wali of Allah. That's what I said, and then suddenly I felt it surround my mouth, and my entire being was completely filled with this white entity, and then I saw something come out of my mouth. When it came out, I saw that this white entity, this spirit, was all around the street where I was lying down, where I had fallen. And my colleagues were there too, and they were still interacting with it. All of them were under its influence. This luminous entity had surrounded them, in other words, the street where I was. It was only when I closed my eyes that I could see nothing but this white being, and I was being born. My spirit was being born. When I closed my eyes, I was being born, meaning it told me, close your eyes so that I can be born. Close your eyes to this material world. Let me come out. And it was even talking to me. It was saying, let me go out. And when I resisted, in those last seconds, in that final moment, it was as if it was banging itself against this side, like someone who is trapped somewhere and can't do anything. It was banging itself against the walls. It was hitting itself against this body, and I could feel it. This spinning, this movement made it grow bigger and bigger. It was as if it had become the very essence of my being. It was like something had been set free and had to leave, and by not sleeping, I wouldn't let it leave. But when I finally fell asleep and closed my eyes, it was as if something new was born, like it came back to say, ah, I finally got out, I'm relieved, and it was at peace. It grew bigger and bigger. It was as if it had illuminated everything, even though it was night, Yalda Night, I remember. But it had grown so much, it was so luminous, so bright, and from this point on it was the birth of a soul that had come out of a body, out of a shell, and had been set free. And then, quite suddenly, I started to truly fly. From that very moment, I slowly and gracefully rose up into the vast expanse, and that, my friends, is precisely how my incredible flight truly began. At first, I started flying very gently and cautiously. I gradually rose up higher and higher and began to soar freely in the boundless sky. And then, with a sense of peace, I curled myself up. I had gently drawn myself in, feeling completely at ease. I mean, the soul can take on different forms. I saw this myself. It can shape itself in various ways. That moment when it was inside me, that moment when it came out, and that the very moment I was truly flying, I had indeed come out now, and I had carefully curled myself up even more completely. This soul, which was so vast, took on a different form for flying, and I started to fly. I remember the place where I had the accident. It was Kaniabad Inno, District 19. I rose up from there and could see all of Tehran. I saw the towers of Tehran, and just like that, I left the city. I saw other cities as well. As I kept looking, I watched the city and kept rising higher, and I was picking up speed. You know exactly how a pigeon moves its wings up and down? It has a unique and characteristic sound, and it's quite recognizable. That I was making that sound myself, and then there was a noise like sparks crackling, tuck, tuck, tuck. As my speed increased, that crackling sound got louder, and then I looked at the whole night sky. I realized, wow, how comfortable I am, how free I am, how good it feels, and I was filled with a sense of joy. Thank you, God, for letting me break out of that mold. I tried so hard, but I finally got out. I was released. I was free. How wonderful is this? I can see everything everywhere, and then I kept seeing. I saw the seas beneath my feet as I looked down from above, and I increased my speed. At first, when I started moving, my speed was low, but now I was really accelerating, being pulled to the left. It was as if they had attached a GPS to me. Well, for example, now that we are in the year 1403, GPS and location have become so common and normal for us now, but I had this experience back in the year 68, and I can say that the very system we now talk about in GPS devices, these aerial maps we talk about, it was as if a part of this was embedded in my soul, as if its file had been placed there, and I knew exactly where I was going. I didn't ask anyone for directions at all. I was alone. Who was I supposed to ask? I just kept moving across the night sky like that. I ascended higher and higher, and then I reached beyond planet Earth. Then I left the Earth. Once I was out of the Earth, I thought, wow, how beautiful it is. What an atmosphere. How wonderful. Here it's daytime, unlike where I was before, where everything was difficult and dark. Here everything was so bright and truly delightful. When I found myself in that place, I felt pleasure. Suddenly I heard a sound. Someone was singing to me, "The martyrs of God, the seekers of calamity in the plain of Karbala." I saw that they were singing this. They were singing this. Then it was also in the voice of Master Nazeri, Shahram Nazari. Master Shahram Nazari was singing it, and the sound echoed so much that it was overwhelming. In that moment, I felt how magnificent it was. For me, this moment, having a voice singing to me, then I looked around me. But there was no one else there but myself. I was alone. I found myself in this new situation, in a new place, and I was singing my anthem. Well, what could be better than this? Then it started. This voice excited me incredibly. I was already thrilled, but when I heard this voice, my excitement grew even more. Then I started jumping up and down, and I was talking to myself. I was saying to myself, how great is this place? Go up, jump up, jump up, jump up. I was talking to myself, truly enjoying the moment. The place where I was situated possessed such wonderfully pleasant air, remarkably good air, feeling light and exceptionally bright. This delightful atmosphere made me feel even more profoundly joyful and content. I said, well, now that I can jump so well, now that I feel so comfortable and free, let me try jumping even higher to see what happens. And I started jumping up. I just kept rising higher and higher. I kept jumping and jumping, leaping to the right, leaping to the left, flying around and enjoying it all. The fact that no one was holding me back anymore. I had come out from somewhere and now no one was stopping me, and I was really enjoying it, and I tried my best. I went higher, and as I went up, I felt the air was denser. I felt that where I was before, maybe the air was lighter. Up there, the air was a bit denser, but I could still jump. Then I tried again and thought, okay, let me jump even higher. Well, why am I even stopping in some places when I'm so free, when I'm this liberated? Why should I stop anywhere at all? Then I started flying again, and as I was flying, it felt like I was enjoying it. Every time I went a little higher, I'd tell myself, go a bit higher, jump even higher, higher and higher. I wanted to see if I could go even further up, and I saw that I could. And after I passed through so very many intricate layers, I finally went up, I ascended. I came up. I really wanted to try just one more additional layer, the very last and final layer. When I tried to go through this particular layer, and I truly realized I simply couldn't proceed much further, as if some unseen force was actively blocking my path. It truly felt like an immense wall, or perhaps a dense layer of rock, or even something distinctly metallic like a robust alloy, or incredibly strong steel, or something quite similar to those durable materials. That's what I felt. It truly didn't let me go through that very last final layer toward the vast empty void, because right directly above me, precisely where I was standing at that moment, there was absolutely nothingness, an immense emptiness, and I simply couldn't possibly pass through there. So consequently, I had to remain and stay in that exact same layer, in that identical position. And I profoundly realized that this indeed was precisely where I should ultimately stop. There was no one for me to ask. I knew, I was fully aware, I was exactly conscious that I had to stop, and I knew it. I had to stop so that a being would come and take me with it. I knew this too, and for example, I slowed down my own flying speed so I could stop and wait for a being to come. Suddenly, I saw that above my head it split open. Right where I was standing, above my head, it split open, and I saw a strange world, a new and incredibly beautiful world. I saw a world that was incredibly beautiful, truly lovely, and I saw a path open up. I saw the sky split into two parts. The sky was torn open and divided in two right down the middle. I saw a very beautiful road in between, and there was a house on it. But calling it a house doesn't do it justice. It was a palace, a very beautiful palace, shining white, radiating with brightness. I saw this house. Then all around it, there were boxwood shrubs and rose flowers everywhere. It looked incredibly beautiful, as if it was showing itself off, and then I saw that house again along that path. There was a carriage, one of those royal carriages, as they call them, or let's say a smart carriage, something like that. For example, there was no driver. It was moving on its own, this carriage, without anyone driving it. It was being operated intelligently. It came slowly down that winding path and then gracefully stopped directly in front of that magnificent, gleaming white palace. I distinctly saw that too, and as I was intently watching, quite suddenly, this breathtaking part of the entire scene vividly appeared, and I then saw an even more wonderfully beautiful and expansive view majestically open up before my very eyes, and it was truly filled with light. It was so incredibly beautiful, absolutely breathtakingly beautiful beyond all description. And then from a source, these lights were coming, being guided from somewhere and coming in toward the place I was looking at. I was below them. This is what I'm seeing. This light I'm talking about, I was below it. I mean, my position was significantly lower than that brilliant light I previously mentioned. The radiant light was directly above me, and it was incredibly, truly beautiful, a truly amazing and breathtaking world to behold. The particles of light appeared in different colors. For example, the pink was so lovely, and the green was incredibly beautiful. These lights were merged together, and each particle of light knew its own path. Then next to it, you would see, for example, blue next to green. It was as if they were standing in a line, as if they were holding each other's hands. They were coming down from somewhere, being guided side by side, parallel to each other. Then, when I listened, I realized these particles had their own melody. They possessed a truly unique and distinctive tune of their very own, and they were remarkably conscious. Indeed, they knew precisely where they were headed, and they remained completely and utterly obedient at all times. Who exactly were these individuals? They knew precisely which predetermined path they absolutely had to follow, and they would consistently go back up the winding trail and then gracefully return again, steadily coming down, always hand in hand. It was truly as if none of them were ever saying, "I am prettier, my vibrant pink is prettier, my brilliant blue is prettier." No, quite the contrary, each and every one of them was peacefully passing through a distinctly different and unique path. They would certainly come. They would flow down, coming down, hand in hand, side by side, and then again in that same field they would turn and go toward where they needed to be. I mean, every moment, every second, though there, time doesn't really have any meaning. When I looked at them, I wished I could become a bit of that light myself. I even felt as if, for example, I had come from that line of light, somehow outside of it. It was as if, for example, I had been left outside and they were all playing together, like school children lining up in the schoolyard and starting to play, and there's someone who's not among them standing outside the line, watching and longing to join. I was longing for why I was so far from these particles of light. Why wasn't I with them? Then I kept telling myself how much I wished I could become a particle of light. It felt like I used to be one of them. It was as if I had come out of that line. What should I do to be able to go back in again? I was whispering these things to myself. I was talking to myself, watching them, and I had become completely absorbed in observing these particles of light. At that point, I was completely unaware of my surroundings. I couldn't tell what was what. I was just standing there watching. The scene was incredibly beautiful, and suddenly I felt the spot where I was standing, once again above my head. Another area, another part, another world opened up, as if yet another curtain had been drawn aside. It was as if all these worlds I was seeing were right next to each other, and each one had something unique inside it. There was a strange event or incident happening in each of them, and everyone had its own unique system governing it. Another system, another world opened up. Suddenly, I looked and saw a creature flying down from above. It was coming toward me, and as I looked, it was still a bit far away. As it approached, I saw its face. Well, it looked like a human. In that moment, I looked at it from a distance. But I thought to myself, what is this? What am I looking at? Let me see what this is. But by then, I had become absorbed in the light. For a moment, I didn't want to take my eyes off what I was seeing at all. I wanted to keep watching these particles of light, to follow them. I was wondering, what will happen to this in the end? What will happen to me? In that moment, I was talking to myself, thinking, what will become of me? Can I go to these particles of light? How beautiful they are, just like that. I was talking to myself, and then I saw that the being I mentioned was quickly coming toward me, and then I realized I was hearing sounds. From the layer that this living being had, as it was flying toward me, I could hear sounds. For example, what I remember now is that the sound was like two swords clashing together, that kind of sound I was hearing. I was surprised and thought to myself, what is this? And I was waiting to see what message this being coming toward me has for me. Then, as they came, I saw that every minute that they were coming closer to me, every time they got closer, they appeared bigger to me. Suddenly, I looked and saw a huge, massive being with a strange shape coming toward me, and I noticed it had a pair of wings. How big were they? For example, where I was standing, it was as if half the sky there was covered by its wings. The wings were extremely beautiful, very delicate, and all around them there was a kind of light. When I looked, I saw an angel coming toward me. From the waist down, it looked like something similar to a spaceship, like a rocket inside it. But from the waist up, it looked human and was wearing some kind of clothing. Either its body or its clothing was like this, like scales, like overlapping scales. That's how it was. Its body was light brown, or something like ochre, or light brown. Around its waist, I also saw something like a belt made of a leather-like material around its waist. Then I saw it coming toward me, coming closer, and as I was watching, I realized just how small I was. Even though I had grown so big and had come up into the sky and was enjoying it so much, as I looked, I saw that compared to this enormous figure and his build, I truly realized how small I was and how immense he was, and then we began to communicate. I have come to accompany you. I've come to take you home. And where was my home? It was exactly the place they showed me, my home. Before the angel came, they had shown me that home. And I enjoyed the feeling that I had become aware that this home was mine. I felt that I understood exactly, not just felt, but truly understood that this was my home and that I had to go and reach that home. I even realized that to get to the home, I had to follow a certain path, but I couldn't take that path on my own. I had to continue this journey with a guide. He came and introduced himself, saying that he wanted to accompany me on this journey. He said, I will accompany you, and together we will take this path. Then he spoke to me and said that we are going to take this journey. He told me, you shouldn't be afraid of this path. We will see things along the way, so try not to be scared. He was talking to me directly. The communication there isn't through spoken language. It's not like you use words to talk the way you do here. It's a telepathic system, meaning as soon as something comes to your mind, you can get your answer. It doesn't matter what language you speak, whether it's Persian, Azeri, English, German, or anything else. There you can have this kind of connection, allowing you to communicate clearly and easily. You can communicate through this same telepathy I mentioned. And he also told me that our path is Turanian. The path we're taking is Turanian, and we should enjoy this journey we're on. He said, don't worry, just try to enjoy it. And suddenly I saw that he grabbed me, then took off one of those belts he was wearing around his waist, and then suddenly I saw that his hand wasn't like ours. This hand I'm talking about had a pair of very large wings, something like a hand, if I can call it a hand. We think a human hand looks like this, but his was different. It was like there were three hands, and from under his wings, another hand would come out and do what a hand does. And when I say hand in my explanations, that's what I mean. I'm just describing it as best as I can. And then I saw that from their belt, they pulled out something, a wire, a cable, something like fiber optic, with two colors, white and black, as if they had been braided together. They took it out from their waist, from that belt, a belt like a tool belt, the kind that people in technical jobs usually wear to carry their tools. I saw that they pulled out a wire, white and black, and it was very shiny. This wire was really shiny, and they grabbed it in their hand, took hold of me, and started. They fastened it around my neck, which was very strange to me. Suddenly I protested and said, hey, what are you doing? What are you up to? I remember protesting like that. What are you doing? And without getting angry, without losing their temper, without being disrespectful, they just smiled. They said, I want us to start the journey now. We want to go together. Our journey is a long one. And then I saw that they tied one end of this cable or this fiber optic firmly around their hand like this, and the other end around my neck, and I became something quite amusing. He tucked me under his wing and said, "For the sake of flying, don't be afraid of anything you see. Our journey is long. Don't be afraid, enjoy it, and don't talk to me at all." To myself, I thought, the holy angel is talking to me. He says, "Don't be afraid, enjoy it." Well, I am enjoying it. Is there even anything scary here? Why does he keep insisting to me? Why does he keep repeating that sentence, "Don't be afraid"? And why did they tie this around my neck? And with this question, we set off because now he told me, "Don't ask me anything along the way," meaning he was telling me not to ask him anything and just enjoy it. And then they tucked me under their wing. We started moving. Where I was standing was the Earth's crust, and we began. We started moving, and then I saw that as we were getting farther from the ground, I saw a bunch of rocky bodies. I mean, I saw the planets, and I saw them one by one. We were getting closer to all of them, approaching each one, passing by one, then the next, and then suddenly I looked and saw that we were in a space surrounded by rocks, full of rocky bodies all around us. They were so neat, so beautiful, as if they were all strung together. How can I put it? Like when you thread two prayer beads onto a string. All these beauties were moving along a single, intelligent path, following it to the end, and one by one, we were passing by these planets. I found myself in a situation where I saw that the smaller planets or smaller rocky bodies were circling around each other, forming a ring, as if they were attracted to something, gravitating toward it and being drawn there. This was really interesting to me, and their colors were different from each other too. For example, I saw one that was almost golden yellow. I saw another one that was darker, and we were heading toward a destination, moving forward. I looked from afar. I saw that there was a kind of dust covering a place like a haze, but there was also a much larger rock or planet. It was one of those. But this one was different. These were smaller, but the one I was seeing from afar was much bigger. I mean, it was several times larger than these, and we were heading toward it. As we got closer, I saw how beautiful this planet was, a planet that it was growing on the horizon, and we were getting closer and closer to it, so close that we were right next to the planet. I looked and thought how huge it is. The angel was magnificent in size and appearance, but compared to this planet, the angel seemed much smaller. We were steadily moving along the very outer edge from the far right side, gradually getting much closer and closer to this colossal, mysterious planet, its immense presence becoming increasingly apparent with every passing moment. As we kept going, I was enjoying how beautiful this planet was. I thought to myself, how stunning it is, what beautiful curves it has. As we were passing by at high speed in that vehicle, which was filled with angelic light, I said it was like something similar to a spaceship, like a rocket. I didn't see any legs for him to say, for example, legs like us humans, but I could see him from the waist down. It was like that. From the waist up, I could see that he was somewhat similar to a human too. He also had some wings again, with a bee-like shape, and with that incredible speed that his vehicle had, and I was tucked under his wing. And around my neck there was something like a wire, or a cable, or maybe a fiber optic cord. We were moving. As I got closer, I saw that this planet was really big. When I got even closer, I noticed there were horizontal lines on it. Horizontal lines that seemed to be moving across the planet. Then we slowly passed by this planet. After we had gone past it, we started to go higher. Suddenly my curiosity was piqued. I said, "Let me take a look at this beautiful planet. We've already passed it. Let me look at it one more time. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it." So I decided to look at it again, just looking down at the planet like that. Suddenly, I saw a creature, a living being that looked remarkably like a human, but was definitively not human. It merely resembled one in its outward appearance. Then I observed that its age was akin to that of a profoundly wise elder. I can certainly put it that way, not extremely ancient and fragile, but with distinguished salt and pepper hair, noticeably gray hair, exceptionally long hands, remarkably tall, slender, and adorned in a very beautiful, flowing robe. They were wearing a very beautiful robe, or the clothing What I felt they were wearing must have been clothes. I saw them with those very large, elongated hands and extremely tall stature, several times bigger than the planet Jupiter. In their hands, they were holding the colossal planet Jupiter and gently moving it around with incredible ease. It was so profoundly strange and utterly astonishing to me. I distinctly saw the magnificent planet Jupiter. An ethereal entity, a celestial angel, was actively and deliberately moving the immense planet Jupiter, causing it to gracefully move and shift in space. In their hands, it was as if they didn't have any bones in their bodies at all. The being they're talking about, it would take on the shape of that planet itself. Then its clothing would ripple, its sleeve would ripple, meaning it would keep forming, and the sleeve would ripple, and then the rest of it would ripple too. It had been split open down the middle from the top of its head, and the opening went down to its shoulders. And from a distance, when you looked at it, it had a certain grandeur, a strange majesty and awe. And I saw this planet. The way it moved like that was really strange to me, and it produced sound by itself. I looked, then looked again, and a bit lower I saw, under the planet Jupiter, there were two gears, golden in color. One was bigger, the other smaller. This angel, this guardian of the planet Jupiter who was moving it as it moved, those gears would also move. With each movement of the planet Jupiter, those gears would also move once. The gears were making sounds, and in that space I could see that sound was being produced. The sound of the gears from one side and the sound of this being from the other, and then these would merge together in a space that was empty, a space just emptiness. I saw it like this. In this space we were traveling through, the sounds that existed would echo. I felt like it was a deep, hollow space, and this scene was really strange to me. Then we kept going like that, trying to finally finish with the planet Jupiter. Again, my curiosity got the better of me, and I tried to take a look. Once more, suddenly, something appeared in front of me. This planet Jupiter caught my attention, and when I looked, I saw that it had a very large camera. It was filming me, the angel Jupiter, and everything else around there. It was recording everything. A very large camera. The lens of the camera, surprisingly, wasn't actually made of conventional glass. That's precisely how it truly felt to me. A distinct and unusual sensation. Its fundamental material was perhaps something quite similar to the delicate and intricate material of our very own human eyes, a truly remarkable and organic composition. But not glass. That's how I felt. Its lens was extremely large, conical, dark and black, and this camera had it. It was tracking me, the angel, and those things I mentioned that were in that space. As I came closer, I saw that the lens of the camera and my eyes intersected with each other, meaning they crossed paths. We were looking at each other. It was looking at me, and I was looking at it too. It was tracking the enemy, and I also became aware of this camera. There was a smaller camera whose lens was facing to the left, meaning it was looking to the left. It was recording video. But this big camera that I'm talking about, camera number 1, was looking at me. It was tracking me. This was the same camera that, back in the pit when I had fallen, was recording video. It was only then that I realized this camera is the one that can track and record both in the pit and here. It could even record sounds. Any sound that was made, it would capture. Every scene that happened there, this camera was recording. It was filming, and for a moment I felt like there was a being standing behind this camera, but that being didn't want to be seen. I wasn't supposed to know who it was. Like a shadow, I saw it, and I even felt it was trying to hide itself so I wouldn't see it. Whatever it was, it didn't want me to know or figure out who was behind the camera, and at that moment, I really couldn't tell. I couldn't comprehend it, and then we continued on our way and went higher up. We came from the path of the shared mother planet. Again, I saw a few more planets or some other rocky objects, and we kept going. We went really far up. This journey of mine, my otherworldly journey, was very long. From this path of planets, rocky objects, spinning things, cameras, and so on, we completely exited ourselves. I mean, we went to a place, we were going somewhere that I saw there was almost nothing left. Whatever there was, it was just dark space. The stars in the sky adorned this dark part of space. Space is so vast, space is so empty and immense, and it's these stars that come and adorn that give light to this space. Otherwise, the base of space, what I saw was the base of space, and I felt the depth of space, and I could see this black color. There were only stars in the distance twinkling at us, and we were moving along this path to the right side of this space, to the place we were heading, and not in a straight line like this. We were moving through this space in this way. That's how we were going through it. There was so much of this space. We moved upward and went to the top, and the structure of this vessel, the vessel of the Holy Angel, just never ended. I don't know what its structure was made of. Maybe it was a hard material, I don't know, maybe something like a nuclear core. That's the best way I can put it. And this structure just never ended. From the moment we entered this vessel, that is, when the Holy Angel started operating this device, all the way as we were going, it just kept on going like that. I looked and saw that the light illuminating that area so brightly came from several things. One was the presence of the Holy Angel, whose upper part radiated a lot of light. In fact, the top of him acted like a very, very powerful projector. The angel's own wings, his very being, and then I saw that the vehicle he was riding on, like a spaceship, like a rocket, had things like solar panels covering its surface. Again, I say this. Solar blades, maybe now it's starting to make a bit more sense to us, but that's exactly how I saw it back then, the year I witnessed it. There were large lights that were luminous and illuminated the entire spaceship, and then there was my own being. I was also radiant. I myself was a luminous being. My light wasn't as intense as theirs, but I did have my own light. Our combination created an incredible light in space, in that empty black void, for example, and we were moving through it, with those stars that were at quite a distance from us. They weren't very close to us, and as I said, I saw the Holy Angel on my right side, moving in an orderly fashion from the right, and the space was very vast. I'm not saying I was tired, no, but I felt like the place we were going was really far away, like we weren't going to reach it. I saw the planets, we passed them one by one, and they were no longer in their orbits. After that, I didn't see any planets, I didn't see any rocky bodies. Things like that, I just didn't see anymore. There was only space, just space and more space, and we kept going. We kept going higher and higher. The angel's face was very elevated, and they had their own special crown on their head. On that crown, there was a code, a name, a symbol. It was engraved there, and at that moment, I felt and understood that apparently it was their name or their code. Because, every name has a code for itself in the higher realms. In the universe, all names have a code, and this person had a code. It was on their crown, as if they were recognized by that code in space, so there was no need to say who they were. When I saw this code, it was clear who the owner of this code was. It was inscribed on their crown. Their crown, the clothes they wore, or their outward appearance, all suggested, or at least I felt, that they had come from ancient times. This angelic figure was really ancient, and I even realized that they were an angel who had come this way. It was as if this was normal for them. It seemed like this was their official position, to guide a soul like mine, and for example, to leave this space, this place filled with the sounds of rocks and such things. Maybe it was also full of dangers, and that's why they came. For example, the place where we wanted to go, in that square where we were standing, was full of those strange rocks I mentioned. They were lined up like this, and we were passing right through them. The angel was like a skilled pilot guiding us through them. He was leading me through, helping me pass, and I wasn't afraid. He really knew the way. It was obvious that he had done this before. It was clear. He wasn't inexperienced at all, and he had no fear or anxiety about it. But even so, we kept going higher and higher, and no matter how far we went, we didn't get any closer. We couldn't reach the house we were supposed to get to, and as we kept going, this was the situation. Suddenly, I noticed that they actually had their own antenna, a special antenna on their hat that moved as they did. Because when we wanted to move, I saw their hat's antenna move, but it didn't make any sound or anything. When we started moving, all of a sudden, I saw something, a very large area that was black in color. Imagine you're walking, looking around, and suddenly a circle, something like a black circle, appears right in front of your eyes. That's exactly what I saw. It was so big, so black, that I can't even describe how black it was compared to anything else. It had no light, no color, nothing. There was absolutely no light because where we were moving, the stars were lighting everything up. Right above us, yes, the base of the sky was dark in color, but the stars were so bright. All around us, the sky was full of stars, and that made the path even brighter. But this area I'm talking about didn't have any stars in it at all, not even around it. It was a very dark place, and we were getting closer to it, and then I felt like something was changing because I felt that the helmet I mentioned, the one with the antenna, I saw it spinning quickly, and then there was a brief pause. It was as if the angel paused for a moment and then started moving again. I asked myself, why did they pause? We were going, there was no problem at all. Did something happen? I was asking myself these questions because he told me not to ask any questions, so I had to answer my own questions myself. I would think questions would come to my mind, but it was a situation where I could figure it out myself. I answered myself, thinking maybe there was a problem, and then I saw that we were being pulled toward this black circle. I could really feel it myself. I felt that we were being drawn toward this black circle, and as we got closer, I observed that the antenna of Hazrat Fereshteh commenced spinning much more intensely. And then suddenly, as we gradually got closer, I distinctly observed a rather particular and unique situation. It was as if I saw another world, another planet, something I saw that was red and black from a distance. We were heading toward that area, and the more we were drawn toward it, I saw it from that area. The sound of a warning siren was very overwhelming. This sound, I don't know, imagine, for example, in a place where during wartime they sound the alarm siren. Now multiply that by thousands in your mind. Imagine how overwhelming that sound would be. It was as if I felt the whole place was shaking with that sound. I felt that we were approaching a border, getting close to a certain place, and they were telling us not to get closer. I truly understood this with all my being, and then I told myself we're entering a danger zone. It was as if the angel was getting closer to that place, and I felt that was when I became really overwhelmed. I remembered what the angel said at the beginning. Don't be afraid of what you see. Don't ask anything. Then, whenever I got scared, they would shake this fiber themselves, and when they did that, it was exactly as if they were telling me, no, it's scary, but the place is safe, just not in that way. I was extremely scared. I was really terrified by that sound. I looked and I felt like something, like a ball of fire, was coming toward us from far away. It was heading toward us, and the angel, while still speaking at the same speed, just slowed down a little. This was actually on his own hat. This antenna was on his own hat, and it had started spinning intensely like this, spinning rapidly, and it was spinning rapidly and making a very loud crackling sound. His hat was producing it. But that siren I was hearing was coming from straight ahead, from above, from the area I mentioned where I saw the red and black part. That sound was coming from there. I honestly felt really uneasy there. I felt a spiritual discomfort. I had prepared myself for the house we were going to, but as we were moving along this path, I kept thinking to myself, oh God, where is this place? What is this? We're here and they don't know, and they wouldn't let us in at all. When the siren went off, I understood it was saying, well, this is a danger zone. Don't enter. Don't come close. That's what it was telling us, and it was strange for me. And as we were heading toward that area I mentioned, suddenly the angel paused for a moment, just a brief pause, lowered his face a bit, then changed direction. That is where we were going. He shifted to the left, changed direction to the left, so we didn't enter that area. For a moment, I felt relieved. Then I was thinking to myself, where is this place? How much it unsettled me. I was so shaken, I felt really bad. Even though I had prepared myself for those houses, now I was feeling really bad, thinking, my God, what's going to happen there? I even felt like, are we really supposed to go there? Because what I saw was something else, you know? It was all like that. And the angel understood all of this. Then he would shake that cable like this, telling me, don't worry, trust me. When he shook it, he was telling me, Trust me, the place is safe, nothing will happen. That's what he wanted to say. He was saying, as long as you're with me, don't worry at all. As long as I'm here, don't be afraid. That's how he was telling me. Then we turned left, and when we turned left, suddenly I saw that both of us were in a space filled with smoke. There was a terrifying amount of smoke in that area. That place was where smoke was coming out, and the smoke had filled the whole space. For a moment, I thought to myself, if the angel wasn't here, what would I do? I was talking to myself because I was feeling really scared, as if I didn't like this place at all, as if I wasn't ready for it. I knew they were telling us not to enter, and I even knew our names weren't on that list. We weren't supposed to go in there. But when we changed direction to the left, I saw that area was full of smoke, a terrifying smoke. I even felt like those strange eyes of mine couldn't see anything, and it was the angel who was guiding the way. If, for example, he had left my soul there, I wouldn't have been able to find the way. That's what I want to say. He was my guide, leading me and telling me not to be afraid. Don't worry, I'll get you through here as well. And as we passed through that area, when we got there, he really slowed down. Unlike before, when we were moving very fast, now I saw that he had slowed down. He was moving very cautiously. Why did I feel this way? And why was he paying even more attention to me? For example, what would I do when I got scared? I would make myself smaller, shrink myself so I could fit more under his wing. And that was a place where I was really scared, so I kept squeezing myself, making myself smaller so I could gather under his wing and feel safe. Or even as if he wanted to tell me not to be afraid at all, to not feel any fear whatsoever. I told you not to be afraid. I told you not to worry. Nothing will happen as long as you're with me. Anyway, we turned around and left that path. After we left that path, it felt like we were getting closer to home. It was like I could finally truly say, oh, I feel greatly relieved now. But which way? Why was the path like that? It was difficult. At this point, I was thinking to myself, what would I have done if the angel hadn't been there? But then I realized that we had safely made it through this path and arrived. We headed toward the direction where I had been shown that house. All this way, we came just to reach that house. I mean, it was a really long journey we had taken just to reach our home. And then suddenly, after following a certain path, I realized we were in a different place in a different world altogether. I'm telling you, the things I was seeing, each one had a kind of otherworldly atmosphere. Maybe I should put it simply. It's as if you imagine each of these as a separate sphere. Inside this sphere, inside this planet, something specific would happen to you. Then, as you experience these things, something else would happen to you in parallel with that. You'd see these things, and then you'd see that one, and then another, and then you'd see the third, the fourth, the fifth. Then, when I found myself in this area, I saw that the angel said we are getting close to home, and I was very happy about this. And then I felt that the angel wanted to give me a bit of a break, basically saying that everything is okay now, everything is good, it's safe, there's nothing to worry about. Don't be afraid. I'm going to remove this wire and this cable from around your neck so you can be freer and able to fly on your own more. Is it really this safe here? Don't worry at all. This place is different from anywhere else. Me and the angel were in a completely safe space. I felt that, like I said, I started to feel comfortable at that moment. And then the angel suddenly told me that we have to stop here. Questions would come to my mind, but I wouldn't ask them. I just had questions for myself because I had decided not to ask. Then I thought, okay, let me just keep reading. There, close by, he took this cable off me. He took it off my neck and said, be comfortable here, and then turned to me and said that he had been called. He was the angel. He said, I've been summoned. I have to stop here, as if I have to wait for new instructions. He was the angel. Then, in the space I was in, my exact position was like this. I was, so to speak, freed from that wire that had been around my neck. He opened it, and in that same space, I started to, fly on my own. The angel said, I've been summoned. They've called me. He told me something like that. He said, they need me somewhere. You stay here. Wait for me. I have to go and see what they want with me. It was as if he had been summoned from a room, from somewhere. It's like there's a room or a hall or some place there. He manages us, for example. He commands that area. He manages it, something like that. Intelligent management. Then when I stood there and looked around, I thought how beautiful this place is. It was a tunnel that wasn't very long. From what I saw, there wasn't a great distance inside the tunnel. Its walls were almost dark, black in color, as if they were covered in soot, like the stones of a tower covered in soot. The walls, as I said, didn't have much left to them, and then I looked around. I saw a very bright place where I could see the branches of the trees above, swaying. I mean, above that tunnel where I was looking, it was very bright. The top was really bright, and as I was looking, suddenly I saw that inside that area, I could see those trees, and among the trees I saw a few people, or at least I felt I did. One of those people was my little uncle whom I had lost. I felt like another one was my grandfather, and then I saw that this really was my little uncle. He even shook my hand. This is my uncle and this is my grandfather. They had come to welcome me. They had found out and come to greet me. They had been told that I was coming and they were happy about it. They were walking in that garden, and then my uncle would go and inform some other people. They would come there because, for example, I was coming and my grandfather was impatiently walking around. He had his hands clasped behind his back, fingers interlocked, and he was following up on why I hadn't arrived yet. It felt to me like they had arranged a gathering just for me. A get-together, for example, and I had to go there quickly. And interestingly, at that moment, I felt like I was in a hurry. I had to get there quickly, and the excitement about this filled me. I had seen that house, my own house, that space. I was eager to get there. My relatives had also come to pick me up, which made me even more excited. The thought of a gathering at my uncle's or grandfather's. How nice, how enjoyable. I was looking at that garden. So where is the angel? Why isn't she coming? There's hardly any distance left. Over there is our house, so why aren't they coming to take me? Then I flew myself and went to see that the angel was standing somewhere, standing in a spot, and it seemed like she was talking to some being, to someone. Then I looked from a distance. As I tried to get closer to the angel, I saw that someone's large, firm hand was gently placed on the angel's delicate shoulder. I distinctly saw a hand, a truly immense, powerful hand, and the remaining form of the individual appeared to me as if shrouded in a mysterious, flowing, ethereal veil, obscuring their true identity. I saw this hand on the angel's shoulder, and it was pleading like this. Suddenly I saw the owner of that big hand, my father's right hand. Someone's hand was on the angel's shoulder. I saw a big hand, the rest veiled. This hand on the angel's shoulder was pleading. I recognized it as my father's. I saw him speaking with the angel, pleading and imploring. It's as if I genuinely didn't manage to catch the very beginning of what he was attempting to convey, or perhaps I completely missed the initial part of his statement. But regardless, he was speaking in such an incredibly earnest, deeply pleading, and profoundly imploring manner, a tone that truly resonated with a sense of desperate urgency and heartfelt appeal, making his words feel incredibly weighty and significant even without the full context. But I myself was speaking Persian with Hazrat Fereshteh, and then I saw that my father was pleading, saying, this word I remember exactly. He was begging, saying, brother, don't take my daughter. He was pleading, and this sentence I was speaking Persian with Hazrat Fereshteh, and then I saw my father pleading. This word I remember exactly. He was begging, saying, brother, don't take my daughter. He was pleading. When I heard this, all the pain in the world came over me. I heard my father's plea, turned back and said, God, what if my father has come to take me back? That's exactly what I myself just said to myself, I said, God, what if my father has come to take me back home? And I saw my father was pleading, and he wouldn't give up. He repeated it 2 or 3 times and grabbed Fereshteh's wing. I thought, what if my father came to take me back? He was pleading, wouldn't give up, repeating it, holding the angel's wing, hand on its shoulder, saying, Sir. My father turned and said, we've come a long way, but please don't take my daughter. He even went on to say, please give my daughter back to me as a gift. I am pleading as well. The angel said, we've come far. My father turned. You've come far, but don't take my daughter. He added, give my daughter as a gift. I pleaded, I know you've come far, but please return my daughter as a gift. My father was still alive in 1968. I became sad, unlike his hope. From the very beginning of the journey, I was so hopeful. I was really enjoying myself. I was very happy. The excitement of that house, the excitement of that atmosphere, the excitement of those lights I had seen, the excitement of that garden, all of these truly made me very happy. But at that moment when I heard my father's pleading, I didn't want my father to do that. I mean, I didn't want him to beg or to ask for me to come back. Then, as I entered that space, the holy angel turned to me. He took a tablet-like object from his belt, wrapped with a cable. It was a flat, luminous object, initially rolled up, but not paper. With that thing I mentioned, which looked like a hand, like a touch screen, he started using it. A large screen was in his hand and he showed it to my father. I could see it too, in a way that I was able to see it as well. Then he showed it and said, look, there's nothing else on her screen. Look at her screen, it's blank. Her mission is over. Your daughter has no more plans on earth. I have to take her home. And my father kept pleading like that. He, the celestial angel, was gently speaking to my beloved father with genuine kindness and profound respect. Even though my father was pleading a lot, he didn't get upset. No matter how much everyone was talking, he didn't get upset. With a lot of respect and politeness, he told him, I have no authority. I can't bring your daughter back. All I can do is take your daughter to her home. His plan was that Hazrat Farishte respectfully told my father he couldn't bring his daughter back, only take her home. My father pleaded, don't take my daughter. He begged, give her back as a gift. Hazrat Farishte replied, let's await a new command. I will obey. I am submissive. But unfortunately, I can't really do anything at all on my own. It's not within my power to, but I can't do anything on my own. It's not within my power to bring your daughter back to you. And then I saw that my father was in a different space. Another world opened up. Even where I was standing, I looked up and saw something. They were preparing my coffin. I saw that, but my father had no authority. And then I saw that in this place, my father was in a space lower than where we stood. They showed me another realm, another world, another universe. I looked and saw my father walking in a courtyard, a sacred place, like a shrine. He walked there with complete impatience, total anxiety. My father was in a space lower than where we stood. They showed me another furnace, another world, another universe. I looked and saw my father walking in a courtyard, a sacred place, like a shrine. He walked there with complete impatience, total anxiety. I could feel this completely. I could sense it. But honestly, I really didn't want to do it. I could feel my father's anxiety, his impatience, and his distress, but honestly, I really didn't want to go back. And when I saw my father pacing, suddenly he became happy, ran toward the angel, and communicated with him. He came back and said that a new command had been issued. Then I saw that I gave something, a spirit, to my father, smaller and bigger, and he gave it to the angel. I understood exactly what it was. So all the understanding of the universe came to me. And that command was that they told my father, the new order is for your daughter's return. You can bring your daughter back. Now I have to return your daughter to her home on earth. I didn't want this. I understood the command, return your daughter to earth. This made me very sad. Even though I had been told not to ask questions, I turned and said, but I don't want to go back to earth. I want to go to my home. Earth is not a good place. I didn't want to return to Earth. I became upset and sad. Despite being told not to ask, I said, I don't want to go back. I want to go home. Earth isn't good. But they said, the new command is you must return to Earth and do things there. My father was happy. The holy angel took me with an emerald. We eventually arrived and I was truly crying. I remember I cried a lot on the way. I protested a lot about not wanting to go back to Earth, and he was comforting me. He said, you'll go immediately back to Earth quickly. There are some things you have to do there, and be sure that this time heading down, I was crying as a soul. I was crying with all my being. I didn't want to experience the atmosphere of Earth again. I felt sorrow. I felt imprisoned. Again, they wanted to put me back into a compressed form. I was crying, sorrowful, feeling imprisoned, like they wanted to put me back into that compressed form, to tie my hands and feet, throw me back in there. The goal was just for me to reach Earth. I was shouting this, crying, under pressure again. This time when I come for you, when I want to take you to the sky, I promise you. The holy angel didn't let me go halfway. He just started to comfort me. And I remember they told me, don't cry. This time, when I come for you, when I want to take you to the sky, I promise you there will be no return. And the only thing that brought me back to myself and calmed me down was this community. The longing to see once more, for a soul to be able to be free again, was the only thing. And the only thing that brought me back to myself and calmed me down was this community. The longing to see once more, for a soul to be able to be free again. That was the only thing that made me a bit calmer, and it was this very profound thought, with the hopeful anticipation of a soul truly returning to our world once more, that for me personally it was. I saw the earth from up above. And then they brought me back until we reached the earth. I saw the earth from up there. I really didn't want to return, but we did. And the closer I got, I saw that we were approaching a dark place, because it was night when I had the accident. It was night. From that beautiful world, from that radiant, luminous, bright white realm, I came back to earth. And I saw that, well, looking from up there, it seemed lifeless, cold, rough, kind of dark. But it's as if a person is compelled, as if it's not really in your own hands, to return, and this is all for the sake of experience. And I saw that, well, looking from above, it seemed lifeless, cold, rough, kind of dark. But a person is forced, as if it's not really in your own hands, to return, and this makes experiencing this world even harder. Without hardship, one can't endure. I had no power. I had to respect that decision. In that realm, I had to. Perhaps an innocent being, or one with power greater than an angel, reversed what was over. I believe my father was deeply involved, perhaps through his prayers. I wasn't with him then, but he always prayed after morning prayer. That day, even my mother had a morning headache. I was at home, my mother had a headache, and my father would read the Quran in the afternoon. Maybe it was very hard for my father to lose another young daughter once again. I don't know what factors or circumstances came together to bring me back. When the angel came from the earth, I even remember entering the earthly realm. And then I looked down from above and saw that my body was still lying on the ground, and my colleagues were running around me like that. I even heard that they were still trying to help me. It was in Khaniabad. They got really close to my body. I looked down and saw my body still on the ground. My colleagues ran around me, crying and calling out. Then the holy angel took my soul, lifted me up from above them. And just like that, they threw me toward that shell, toward that body, and I fell into that shell. There was a sound like something snapping into place, like a latch clicking shut. It meant that I was once again joined with this shell, once again connected to this body, to this corpse that I have. And then I heard the sound of that latch very clearly. Body and soul snap together. They lock the soul in place. It's as if they put a lock on it, so for a limited time it can interact with that body again. When I came back to Earth after coming out of that coma, that state, I saw how upset my poor colleagues were, how sad they were about what had happened. They were really, really anxious. This whole thing was really bothering them. And then when I came back, I started a new path, a new life for myself. Maybe at that moment they thought it was all over, but life goes on, and we have to keep living, and we still have to see, to listen and obey, to see what path and what destiny has been set for us. And well, I became a mother. I'm the mother of two children. God blessed me with the gift of motherhood. I was able to benefit from it, and I saw how much my colleagues. I am grateful to God that I became a mother. I am the mother of two children. God blessed me with the gift of motherhood. I was able to benefit from it, and I saw how much my colleagues wanted me to recover, how eagerly they were waiting for this to happen. They were so impatient, and with tears, it was as if they were praying to God for my return, asking God to bring me back, and that's how it was. Maybe this time with a new mission, maybe it was God's will for things to turn out this way so that I could learn new things in my life and put them into practice. My life continued on earth differently, perhaps with a new mission. Maybe it was God's will for things to unfold this way so I could learn and apply new things. But what I can say is this is soul's freedom. When someone like me, an experiencer, sees their soul's freedom, life truly feels cold to them. At least for myself, I can say that when I remember those times when I was free and saw things that you can't see on Earth, for example, on Earth, we see color, but it's as if the color is thick, as if it just sits somewhere and doesn't move. But there I saw that colors seemed to flow, colors seemed alive, moving around, joyful. Everything I saw there was happiness in that realm. When I was born, when I came out of that form, everything was beautiful to me. Everything was unity, joy to me. On this journey, the melody and flowing essence I saw from these particles, when I emerged from that form, everything was beautiful, unity, joy to me. On this journey, the melody from these particles, the flowing current I saw, when I want peace, I close my eyes and feel that light. I feel the light particles. When I spend a few minutes alone with myself, I see them and they give me peace again. In this way, I can often manage some things, but sometimes it really feels like you want to fly away, to go back again, and a person lives in hope of the day when they can see, touch, and feel that space again, and once more live with them. I hope that the perspectives that